Thanks, guys.
Okay,
Are you coming to the department head meeting or you're,
No, I got other
Okay.
things. That's what Casey wanted me to come in early.
okay,
Okay.
perfect.
all right, we're a little late. Sorry, Jen, we were having an update from our sheriff.
That's all right.
But we're here on the agenda today. It says 1 o'clock with Jenn Donovan, Health Department Program Update and possible wage increase. So what do you want to lead off with?
I'll start with our program updates.
Okay.
So, just this year, we're trying to look at all of our next fiscal year stuff now, so it's not a big crunch as the time gets closer. And as I make these decisions about things, everything kind of depends on the decision about something else. That being said,
About the what?
about the decision about something else.
Oh.
So it's all just interrelated. But
Mhm.
at the Board of Health meeting, I mentioned that the state was offering our Parents as Teachers program some additional funding to just work with the families enrolled with Child Protective Services. And do you remember that at all? And you had said maybe this is a chance to get a full-time person.
Mm-hmm.
And so last week I really thought about all the scenarios, and I've been talking to the state about what could work best for our community. So what we're planning on doing is accepting the funding for lots of reasons. We were chosen because we have a high CPS caseload and we have one worker. And so
And we
she
have all the
could-
aides and stuff.
and she could really use some help. Right.
I'm sorry, Jen, that's just so
So
funny to me.
So she could really use some help, and so we want, and we're visiting these families already, but it would be nice to have an allocated FTE dedicated to just visit those families so they could get more training and all that. So I think we're gonna move forward with it. And so, in a way, I've created more problems but solved some of my problems. So that's why I want to chat about it. So my plan is, right now I have 2 PAT home visitors, and I want to shift one of those who's trained and experienced in working with the families, kind of understands domestic violence and all these issues that we come in contact with that a lot of our CPS families are dabbling in, into that role. And then I want to hire another person to take over that one's caseload. And then the state is allocating additional money specifically for like supervision, because they know that it's going to be pretty intense for that home visitor. So I want to bring on 2 people. Bottom line, 2 more people. One to take over the home visitor caseload at 0.75 FTE, and then fill the rest with WIC. So that'll be a whole person, and that'll take both of those things off of my plate. And then a supervisor at 0.75. Pretty exciting, kind of scary. So we're looking at bringing 2 more people on.
So say it again, I see on here, the one part, hiring 0.75 employees, but you said one is covered by WIC?
So one will be a 0.75 home visitor, so that
Okay.
will be grant funded, and then 0.25 WIC.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay, so
So
that'll be a
it'd be a
1.0
Okay,
full-time person.
and they're full-time in, but being paid by funding, outside funding.
Mhm. And then the second person will be a 0.75 supervisor for the grant program. So I have a inquiry into DPHHS to find out if they will cover their health insurance 100%, or
Mhm.
if we'll have to pick up the 25% of it.
And we're talking now the supervisor spot you mentioned.
So I don't have an answer yet for that.
Because
So that's something I want to put out
that
there.
0.75 for the supervisor would be general fund,
Possibly.
and the other
Wait, say it
0.25.
again. Say it again.
So the supervisor, you say you want to have a 0.75 supervisor spot.
Yeah.
And that would be, that 0.75 funding would be county
Grant.
general fund?
Grant.
Oh, that's a grant?
Yeah, both of these people I want to pay through the grants. I'm hoping that I can get the 0.25 of their benefits to be
Okay.
covered by the grant, but in
Okay.
case they can't, that's where the general fund would
Okay.
come in.
would just be a quarter of their.
Gotcha, okay.
So 2220 if nothing changes this year, but
Okay.
who knows? So that's that piece. So moving forward on saying yes on any of these things and with my grant applications, I need to kind of know if the county would support that, which I don't need an answer today, but soon would be nice because I have to apply.
The answer being if we would be willing to pay the health insurance if we got a full-time employee or a 0.75 employee paid for by other funding.
Mhm. at a quarter of the health insurance
It'd
rate.
just be a quarter of the health
Oh.
insurance that we would.
Yeah,
have
not
to
the
pay.
full amount. Because
Okay.
I can cover, I know for sure that I can cover
Mhm.
the health insurance at the allocation
Mhm.
they're at. So 75% of it for sure. I'm
Okay.
hoping that they say, yeah, sure, we'll pay for all of it, but I don't know. Okay,
Okay.
so that's my question.
All right.
Okay, cool. Any questions about that? That, if I can bring 2 people on and do this, I will take parents as teachers and the supervision off my plate as well as WIC. And I will be then the director and school nurse, and then just have MCH and IEP, which is actually really manageable.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I mean by it solves my problem, but creates a little bit more problem for you guys. Any questions?
No?
Okay. Then rolling into the next part of the title, the potential employee wage increases, I filled out Casey's form. So the first one is the parents as teachers home visitor role, and this is the person who, I'm not gonna say any names, but this is the person who would take over this CPS caseload home visiting role. So I was hoping to increase that person's wage, which is 100% covered by the grants.
Mhm.
Just given that those job duties and responsibilities and stressors are gonna increase. And she also has gotten trained and become certified as a certified lactation counselor and certified car seat installation technician. So that's that one. And then my other one is for my administrative assistant position, and I'm requesting an increase for that position as well, just due to her job increased responsibilities. She also is a certified car seat installation technician and took over the whole safety coordinator position. So that's that piece. And currently, 75% of her wage is general fund, and then 25% is grant covered. Okay, so that piece.
Is there money in the budget for it?
Right now there is, yep, and then this, so my next bullet ties into this.
Right.
So the safety coordinator position, I'm kind of looking at how all of her hours are gonna be allocated in the future. And I can know, I'll know whether or not my budget can support it and to what capacity.
Right.
If I know that, whether or not she'll have a certain number of safety hours next fiscal year.
Well, I'm hoping next fiscal year we can set up just a safety budget. I mean, that would be totally a separate,
Standalone.
standalone,
Okay.
you know, budget just for the safety coordinator part of it. You know, that way she could have, you know, her supplies and
Mhm.
whatever needs to come out of there, so.
So to answer your question, yes, for sure I have it until June 30th.
Well,
If
I would
nothing-
think that there would still, because doesn't this, because you were the safety coordinator, so that part of your wage was coming out of administrative assistant, our probably budget anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and there's,
Yeah, just
because the administrative assistant and finance was combined, there should be money, some money in there. Right?
in the commissioner budget, probably. That's probably we'll have to ask Jessica because it might have to be like a
Yeah.
budget amendment
At the end of the year.
to transfer.
Mhm.
But it is all general funds, so I don't know if that makes a difference.
I think through my other grants and programs, if I know how many hours she's gonna have for, like, let's say safety, even if
Right.
it's just like one a week, then I can fill it in
Right.
with other programs. You know what I mean? So to answer your question about do I have it in my general fund budget? Yes, right now, assuming nothing
But-
changes
right,
next
but
year.
if there's more, you know, because I know Ashley's really been doing a lot. I mean, it's really made a difference, I think, in the safety program, what she's been doing, so, I think that we should be able to support her somehow. Because in the long run, it's gonna make our
Premiums come down.
premiums go down, so. Yeah.
Well, I understand if you don't have answers for all of this or any of this today, but these are the things that I kind of need to know to move forward with everything. So I just wanted to chit chat and put it in your brains somewhere.
Mhm. So, let's see, we've got it on. Yeah, what did we see? We have a possible wage increase on the agenda. Do we want to give our answer on those?
Well, if it's covered by the grants, then,
So one is, my
Yeah.
home visitor one
Right.
is, yeah.
Mhm. Right, that one's easy then.
And that would be all dependent on whether or not it all moves forward.
oh,
So we're not even planning on getting this program up and running until like August. But I'm having to submit budgets and information like
oh,
right now.
so this
for all
would be
this.
on, this wouldn't be immediately?
Mm, Could be. But I was
You want it to be,
thinking most of it.
you want it to be kind of approved so that you can insert the numbers in the,
Yeah,
in the-
exactly.
okay.
They want me to tell them exactly to the penny, and I'm like, there's so many unknowns.
So if we approve this first one for the home health one, then it would be approved but not in effect until August?
Right. Assuming that it all works out and they move into that position and everything moves forward. And then if not, I may approach you again for a smaller amount or something like that.
So basically then, kind of a motion to approve the wage increase for the home health nurse, but not to take effect until August of 2018, contingent upon the new grant program coming into play.
Yes, however, I'm thinking in my head it might roll out in July, so we better just say
Say
July
July.
1st
Okay.
for
the new budget year?
Yeah,
Okay.
for the new budget year.
All right. Well, for the ease of Jen doing her budgets with the grants and the federal government, I'll move that we approve the wage increase for the home health care from $15.30 to $16.50, but not to take effect until July 1, and that's contingent upon the new grant funding and positions that Jen has planned.
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? And the other one is 3/4 grant or 1/4 grant funded in 75% county general fund. So for that wage increase, we'd be looking at the 75 cents and the grant would do the 25 cents. Yeah, reading at some of the stuff she does, everything
Yeah.
from, including taking care of the fault discs.
I know.
Wow.
MCH.
And
They-
Facebook, got a Facebook thing going.
Yeah, we have an active page. You should join it.
Mm-hmm.
Are you on Facebook?
I'm not. I have-
We put
in
good
there.
information on
Health
there.
department?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm slow to learn the fancy new ways. I just gotta,
Okay.
I barely do my cell phone. you know.
Well, I know that she's really been doing a lot with the safety. I mean, more hours than,
Mhm.
has been done with it, so.
Yeah, and even early riser doing yoga. I was here for that.
I
Thank
heard that.
Casey.
I think it said yoga on it.
Sometimes I don't know when to stop beating a dead horse, do I?
You should have joined us.
Yeah, I had the wrong boots on.
We don't need boots, we take them off anyway.
Oh, that's right. Good catch, Jen. You caught me. So this one would take effect immediately upon approval.
Yeah.
Okay,
And she has, I mean, it's a change in job. Could you maybe do up a job description of what? Well, I guess this is one,
Put it in
yeah.
there.
yeah,
Yep,
she's got
this
the,
is-
she got the
okay,
safety
yep.
coordinator added here, and she also has the car seat.
Yep, yeah. Yep. Consider it's a change in job description
Mhm.
and added to her
Added, yeah.
job description.
And she's worked here loyally for a year and a half for a low wage.
So I will make a motion that we increase the administrative assistant's wage from,
10:30. Yeah, it's wonderful.
from 10:30 to 11:30.
Effective immediately?
Yep,
Or when's the next pay period, Lady Casey?
next week.
Yeah.
Can you do it, you want to do it effective tomorrow or today, or when's easier for your?
I don't even. What day are we on? So the 30th was the last day.
Well, yeah, do you want to just, so it'd be for the next pay period?
Yeah, because then it'll just.
It's simpler for you?
Yeah,
Yeah, because it started on the 1st of April.
and today's the end of the pay period, so it'd be, say, the next pay period, starting Monday, right?
Starting Monday, April 9th?
Yes. Next pay period.
Okay. Okay, to be effective Monday, April 9th. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, any opposed? Okay.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, well, we really appreciate everything she's done.
Rock star.
Well, I mean, I was just worried that it was taken away from your stuff
Getting it
and.
done. Yeah. It'll take more work in the beginning, but I think she's making it happen, so it's good. It's all good, and it fits nicely under the health
Good,
department,
good.
you know, because we
Yeah.
are prevention and health
Mhm.
promotion and all that kind of stuff, so I think it works and she likes it.
Good,
So that's
good.
Well, thank you guys.
Yep.
Hmm?
So the only pending things are that the potential 25% of the insurance for the
Health insurance.
375,
Okay.
yeah, and
Right.
I'll let you know as soon as I hear back from
Okay.
them. Since it's still kind of a pilot thing, I'm always asking a whole bunch of questions that they've never thought through yet, which then forces me to wait longer for the answers, but it's okay. So as soon as I get an answer, I'll let you know.
Okay,
That's the only thing.
great.
But I'm excited.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Late, but it's 1:39 and we have our monthly department director head meeting. We have a few heads here.
Is this a quorum?
Is this a
Yeah.
heads? A quorum of heads? I think Henry VIII was here. I don't see very many heads. Okay, I guess, oh, did you get the joke?
Yeah, I
Oh,
did.
okay, no, nobody laughed, so.
I'm glad I said, oh gosh.
I didn't know if he was here or not. I haven't seen
Were you one of his wives?
it. I looked for it. I said,
Switch the courtesy laugh went to courtesy laugh.
Okay. All right. Well, there went that raise, Mr. Reed, but okay.
I say, speaking of that,
So Lorelei White Dove, what do you got for us?
I don't have much. I've been attending a lot of meetings, it seems like lately, but I did my quarterly report with the state, and they told me I did a very good job, except I need to be more specific, I guess, but with times and dates of everything I've done. I also attended the Emergency Preparedness Committee of the Mineral Community Hospital, and they're going to be doing an exercise, so I could get in on one of those. That'll be kind of nice. And I think at the LEPC meeting today, we're going to discuss doing a spring exercise, so hopefully.
Yeah, I saw your little email you sent out on different things.
Yeah, so that's pretty much what's going on.
And what was the hospital one you say what was that one gonna be
It's
about?
the Emergency Preparedness Committee,
Mm.
and they're gonna be doing an exercise up there sometime. And
Like
they're gonna
if there
put
was
me
some
in the
kind of a
loop.
bomb scare or something?
Yeah, but it's just hospital related.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's gonna be a 3-hospital one, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna fill me in, and it's supposed to be kind of secretive because they don't want everybody to know, because, you know, you gotta spring them on them.
Yeah, oh, right, gotta be a surprise.
So, yeah, so that'll be nice. I mean, I've never done one, so I've been to a couple, but I've never done one, so it's nice to be able to shadow somebody when they do it. And I'm hoping somebody will take point on the spring exercise so I can shadow them and figure it out.
All right. So
And,
you're still glad you took this on?
Yeah, it's been interesting. Ryan Lee, he's the DES guy that kind of helps me out. He's gonna come and do some more training with me next, the 17th, so
Is he Missoula or?
he's Helena.
Helena.
He's taking care of Martha's duties right now.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So, yeah, so he'll be out to help me out some more, give me some more training, and yeah, it's been good. It's been interesting.
Mhm. And on the highway, any of these little snow squalls give you any call-outs for
I
truck
haven't
wreck?
had any. I haven't heard of any, and I haven't had any. Just the two earlier, the two earlier this winter, well, in January,
Right.
February, but yeah, I haven't heard of any. I've been kind of watching because
Uh-huh.
I'm
So
still.
the fuel spill reports, has that got straightened out somewhere?
I'm hoping, but there hasn't been any. I just had the 2 so far, and I know what to do now when I get a call. Got that figured out. But yeah, I guess they contact DEQ, and then DEQ sends me a letter and tells me what they've done as far as cleanup goes for those. But yeah, that's kind of how it goes. It's kind of like just making phone calls. Phone tree.
Mhm. Mr. Reed, sewer permits on the increase now? Spring weather causing any construction?
Yes, definitely. Although, the bad news first, we as in me and I, myself, and my total failure, I have been not getting my emergency call-out calls, so I don't know what that means, but
Well,
whatever
are
it
we-
means.
Is that hurting your income? Are you complaining about that?
No,
Oh,
no, it's just, the state keeps kind of telling us that I flunk, because wherever I am in the world when that lady decides to call, it's not communicatable or whatever. I mean, I don't know what.
communicable?
Did they tell you we failed? Because I think we passed because they called me and I was able
Yeah.
to respond.
The first one we didn't.
Oh yeah, the first one. But we didn't have your number. I don't think. We'll figure. I think we're getting it worked out.
So, anyway, but just minor little points, stuff like that. We had the 8-hour refresher course. I think 14 people took that course.
The Haswapper?
Has what?
14 people, wow.
Yeah, still stayed with 14, which was interesting that there was that many is hanging in there. So
Uh-huh.
a couple people had went and taken a refresher somehow, somewhere, because I don't know if Montana Civil Contractors, they hired 4 and then maybe the 5th local person around here. It was kind of off and on. I don't know if 1 or 2 of them have maybe went to work on some other job or something.
Hmm.
They haven't taken that. But a couple of people picked up other jobs and they just decided not to take it. So held another installer class for the sewer guys, and there was about the same 10, 15 there. There was 3 new people. Yes, 3 new people. Impressed with the new people because they had better scores than anybody of the pretty much other people. I appreciated them studying and paying attention and stuff. So Kevin Donnelly and Vidju and ding, 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 And had one guy, I bet he stopped in 5, 6, 7 times to make sure that he was gonna be able to take the installer's class, and then we picked the date, and, oh, busy that day, we can't get it. I'm not too inclined to have makeup classes on that, so. 2 subdivisions approved, the Bates amended plat in the town of Superior here, that just went to the council, the Lausch amended plat in, Alberton, it had to go to the planning board first and then to the town council, but both of those were approved and got those, so just have to follow up on those, but anyway.
We're, speaking of Lausch, we're waiting for their paperwork to come back. The weed board last month sent them their amended plan for original signatures and told them to send those back as soon as possible, and we have not heard from them yet, so as far as we're concerned, it's still not final,
Yeah.
so
No, I mean, they can't file a plat without the weed plan being submitted, so.
as soon as we get that back from them, then we'll send copies and everything up to you and everybody else.
Owner lives out of state, on the coast. And that was kind of a strange subdivision because one of the 6 kids wanted to divide the property and the owner was out of state and all the other siblings are out of state. So I was talking to Marcia about, what if those other kids aren't too inclined about this? Anyway, I made him give me all the addresses and names of all the siblings and sent them all a notice and give them the information, didn't hear anything, so I think we decided that was our due diligence, but, I kept seeing the signature and I thought, I just can't be her signature. And then the property was not in her name, it was in their name, and Jerry had passed away. It was just a super pain to get everything done about this subdivision.
So Tim, backing up, the Lausch, the Bates, and did you say a third subdivision?
No, just
Oh,
those
just
two.
those 2.
There's 2, and Brockways is sitting on a hold out here. He's consultant, took off for the down south, and
Oh,
he's not come back. He's kind of irked about the whole thing. I'm like, can't do a lot about it.
can you remind me which ones, where's the Bates one at?
Bates was just in town by across
motel?
from S&S,
Oh.
just on the east side of the S&S, a lot that had a house and a garage, and they turned the garage into a house.
Oh, okay.
He's been trying to get an improvement loan on that, and the lending his lender will not loan on a lot that has 2 houses on it.
Mm.
It's against their rules, so,
I think they'd be happy to have more collateral, but
I don't know. Anyway, putting a line in between the 2 of them, it doesn't make a lot of difference, but it was interesting because you had to sort out all the sewers and where everything went in the past and all that. And then there was 2 variances because they access with the lot.
so
Involved.
other than the Brockway one, have you heard of any rumblings of anything else coming down the pipe?
I suppose I don't know if I should, I'll use Rock Springs. Rock Springs is gonna come back with something on the west end. And, he's just trying to pencil it out to see the number of lots, but he's gonna put in some more residential lots on the west end and stuff. So, see how that one goes. Haven't finished the elk run at St. Regis. The road needs to be finished out there to get that one finished up.
The one just west of Alpine, the frontage road, are all those lots, are they all purchased and developed now, or there's still some
Oh,
ready?
no, we're just almost gonna get to the 20th house out of 58 lots.
Oh, okay.
So,
Quite a bit more room for growth there.
yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm hoping that, the state will step in and start looking at the water system. The interior structure of the water system and how it supplies water is fine, and there's nothing wrong with that, but they haven't ever really maintained that tank up in the hills, so.
Yeah, where Bestwick used to get his water for irrigation, the old reservoir tank up there.
What's that?
Is that the old reservoir tank where old man Bestwick used to get his irrigation water
Oh,
from?
no, there's a 300,000 gallon water tank up on the hill.
Oh, not the town of Alberton's?
Nope,
That's
it's West Mountain Estates, theirs only.
Huh.
So, it's up there, but they didn't have it full of water and it went pink when it froze.
Oh, really?
Well, the pump was trying to make the water go up and down and floats weren't set right.
Oh.
And it would get cold and so, anyway, but it's still supposedly functional, but I don't know that the tank's ever been full. And if it's not full, at some point in time, somebody, now that the building way down in the west end, they're gonna have water issues for
Mhm.
pressure and stuff.
Hmm.
We'll see, but they've hired Chris Blab as a water operator. He's pretty good about things. The bomb commissioners are, anything that comes up, they're pretty willing to take care of it and look at it, so. We'll see. But hopefully, and I don't know that both wells are online. I know one is, but I think they're gonna have to get the second well back online too. So anyway. So we did the large event hearing for the Board of Health. So come back with that one again here next month to try to get that figured out. So 7 or 8. Yeah, there's another 2-lot subdivision up at DeBorge up there, Big Sur. So I see that one for the commissioners. The EPA is planning to drill a well in Flat Creek, I guess. Not EPA, the Forest Service is. They're still going to follow up with that. No place to put the contaminated soils out of the lower part of the Forest Service property, so it's going to be interesting to see how they handle that. From what I can tell, the Trout Unlimited is still going to subcontract the cleanup work on the Forest Service property. Pioneer Technical came in and said, oh no, we're going to design it all, and if we design it, then Montana Civil Contractors are going to clean it up. I don't know, whatever you guys, I mean, not up to us, but just like to see it get done, finished up. Oh, the Community Wildfire Protection Plan, this is really the third draft, but anyway, it's the public review draft. It's on the webpage.
Mhm.
We distributed it pretty far and wide out there, so there will be public hearings in April. The St. Regis is the 16th, Superior is the 17th, Alberton is the 18th, and DeBorge will be the 19th, so.
I saw your flyer advertising it in Alberton down at on the cork board down there at the store. So.
Is that post office running anymore? Is it ever open?
The post office?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What?
They gave
10 to 11 on
They gave them
alternating
different
Tuesdays?
hours.
What?
The powers that be, because the postmistress wasn't too keen on it, but they gave her different hours now, so she's same number of hours open, but now she's from 7:30 in the morning until 2:30, and they make her take a 1-hour lunch from 11 to noon. So you just once you get the new hours figured out, then you hit it on the right time, but yeah, it's kind of confusing when
Yeah,
you go in there at 3
confusing,
o'clock
right?
and it's closed. Yeah.
It's always closed like when I showed up. It's like,
Yeah.
I thought post offices were kind of 8 to 5-ish.
Yeah, I don't know why the gal that runs it, I don't know what her last name was, she used to be a St. John girl from up 9 Mile. Her, remember the St. Johns that died in the river, related to them?
Oh.
Anyway, she wasn't real keen on those orders coming down, but she had to comply, but yeah, just don't go there at 11. They open at noon though. Reopen at noon.
Okay.
So if you're off work and you have a lunch hour, you can go mail a package, so that's good for that.
Well, I don't know how many people would read a sign in there. Their boards are weird anyway. I mean, over here, you're put up a notice over here, everybody walks past it and
Right,
sees it.
yeah.
Theirs is stuck in the corner.
Off in the corner, yeah.
Nobody's gonna go look at it anyway, so.
The feed store and the grocery store are usually the best spots for.
Because I don't know if I have one in the feed store. But I mean, if you want to hit 80-90% of the population, I just thought you put something up in 2 bars so that
Yeah.
everybody covers it.
Yeah.
Should make it up as a placemats.
Yeah.
Put it out.
Yeah, I
Coasters.
I stuck it right on the top of the senior citizens. That ought to create a controversy and chaos. But slapping it up there.
Make the more people move.
Who adulterated our board? That's all. That's enough.
So that's it for you?
Yes.
Oh, okay, well, thanks for that animated, lively report, Jim. And now it's the weed man's turn.
Still quiet on the weed world. Spring is somewhere in the near future.
You promise?
It'll be here before Christmas. You may only have 2 days of it, so enjoy it when it shows up, because it's going to go straight from that into hot and dry and ugly this summer. So
No,
Yeah.
no.
we're starting to get more and more spring-like activity. People coming in for questions, a lot of gardening questions coming in right now, and we're telling everybody just hold off. Ground's not warmed up yet. Just relax. But we've had a lot of weekend obligations between 4-H and regular extension and other education programs. I think I have 1 weekend off in the last 2 months, so next weekend I'm taking it.
So on
And-
weekend you're helping to teach those courses and
Yeah.
stuff?
So for either 4-H activities or extension, it just
Mhm.
eats up a lot of extra time. So, but it's all good. So I mean, it's better to not have any of
Is
those.
that flex?
I'm salaried, so they kind of got me by the
Got the deal with
thou
the
shalt.
CEO,
But then again, when I want to take a 3-day weekend, it's like, all right,
Mhm.
no worries. So.
That must come from the word celery. They just feed you vegetables.
Yeah, they just feed you vegetables and
Salary.
put you in a corner. Yeah, it's a little challenging sometimes trying to plan things around school sports schedules and other activities. We end up having to schedule things on Sundays, which I'm not particularly pleased about, but it seems to be the only way we can get more than 2 people to show up. So, but we're working on that. On the economic development side, the CDBG application for Superior Meats went back to the Department of Commerce, and we're somewhere we'll get notice of it in 60 days as of 30 days ago, so we're still waiting to hear if that's going any further forward. Since that was started planning last July, of course, a lot of the construction cost estimates are now through the roof because of the price of steel buildings.
Mm.
So we don't know
Even though that
exactly.
tariff hasn't occurred just yet.
Yeah, oh yeah, the steel building prices of speculation. So hopefully something will still be able to go forward on that. Emily is today facilitating a QuickBooks computer training with Lake County Community Development. So they sent a trainer over and she's up facilitating that. They had pretty good attendance, people from Corvallis, one person from Heron, but she hadn't shown up as when I last saw Emily, so I don't know what became her, but coming from a fair bit of ways, so it's not just Mineral County folk, they're showing up for that. Other than that, I'm probably going to bring my seasonal employee on board in the next couple weeks, and we'll start bringing equipment out of mothballs and putting it together and trying to make sure we don't freeze and break equipment. So hopefully by the middle of April, it'll be a little more stable up there. So other than that, same old, same old.
And I'll say,
Do you guys have a website? Oops, sorry. Do you have a website that lets people know, like, hey, it's plant this now?
Planting dates time?
Mhm.
We do not. Usually we direct people to the plant clinic website for Missoula County. because they're horticulturalists and they're plant people, actually go out and monitor that on a pretty regular basis. So we've got a couple soil thermometers, and we'll go around and we'll check them every now and again just to see if we're any different, but usually we're maybe a day or two off what their predictions are, so it's just easier to send it to them. That way they're maintaining it, they're hosting it, and it's not something that we forget about and don't update for 2 or 3 years.
Plant clinic website.
Yeah. It's a Missoula eduplace.org. And it's their extension weed district website. The plant clinic is linked in there.
Things still going at Corvallis at the ag station?
Yeah, things are going very well at Corvallis. They are experimenting with different fruit trees. They're bringing in hascaps from Canada and doing a bunch of trial plantings of those. It's supposed to be a nutrient, antioxidant-rich berry from Europe, and is really getting a lot of attention up in Canada and the East Coast. And Zach's trying to get some plantings down here and start encouraging that. It's supposed to be the next big wave.
What was the name of it?
Hascaps, Haskaps, and it's
If you compared it to something, what would it be?
like a cross between a blueberry and a chokecherry. Kind of like an aronia. I think it's related to the aronias in Europe, which is what's...
They're not commercially available now.
You can pick them up in some of the nurseries, but the varieties that he's testing are commercial grade production. So the other ones are kind of ornamental, and you may or may not get good production out of them, but he's looking with the ones that they're like I said, they're growing them up in Alberta and Saskatchewan. They juice them, and it's a major filler in a lot of sports drinks and other juices. Like I say, high in antioxidants and vitamin C, and cold tolerance, has a lot of good benefits for people that are interested in those kind of crops. So,
So the trees that lawyers, as a thing, I mean, he's targeting varieties that are good for this climate.
most of what lawyers gets is at least planted up there, and they're fairly well acclimated. Some of the varieties that they're offering may or may not last too terribly long, but most of what they have is pretty good stock for transplanting and growing. Occasionally they'll get some weird stuff in there, and just like, I may make it in the nursery beds, but I don't think once you put that out to landscape, it's gonna last very long. Usually have issues like Jenn had, and the voles come in and chew it all off. So, heard a lot of reports coming in of damage to fruit trees and whatnot from voles this winter. Big sections of tree, large trees have been girdled completely around. 6
Really?
inches worth of the cambium is just chewed off underneath the snow.
Dead tree then.
Yeah, dead, pretty much dead tree.
Were they picking mainly on fruit trees or even the other deciduous?
Primarily fruit trees.
Huh.
So apple and cherry are tastiest, but they'll go after maple, a few others, especially the thin bark ones, willows. They'll get hit.
It doesn't always kill them though, does it?
Yeah.
If they girdle them, it does, yeah. If they go all the way around
I
it.
don't know.
So depends on how deep. If they've chewed up all that cambium,
I've got some fruit trees that the rabbits pretty well girdled and they still bloom, so.
if they still bloom, then
I
go
mean,
for it,
whoever
baby.
thought they were toast, but they made it through.
Maybe rabbits don't chew as far.
Maybe, I don't know.
they got pretty big teeth.
Yeah.
Speaking of rabbits, Neville's came in the other day and reported that there are 2 domestic rabbits cruising the neighborhood over around their place on the end of Spruce, near the pool and whatnot, and I put up a missing flyer for them if anybody's interested. Otherwise, they're gonna probably end up in somebody's stew pot. But don't necessarily want to turn them into Rodney and the dog catcher. Here, go catch you a couple rabbits.
No, you think there'd be enough dogs that would take care of that?
I would think so, but they have lots of cottontails. The cottontails don't seem to bother their garden, but they're worried about these domestics getting into their garden. So,
Well, it was Easter. Maybe they'll leave now.
could be.
Okay. Enough of my dumb jokes. It's Jen's turn to talk now.
All right. Well, we had an increase in our communicable diseases and dog bites this month, but all in all, we're doing all right. Influenza activity is decreasing across the state of Montana. In Mineral County, we've done really, really great. We've only had 32 cases, and Montana's had 9,042. So I'm really happy about that. But we still are getting cases. We actually had almost none in February, and now it's kind of increasing and mostly influenza B. So still wash your hands, stay home when you're sick, and all those precautions. The Department of Health and Human Services has released a few press releases recently that are just great timing, which is why they do it. The first one is encouraging safe practices with live poultry. The biggest diseases that little chicks carry are Salmonella and Campylobacter, and lots of kiddos get critters for Easter and whatnot. So they have some good information about that. The other one is about hantavirus. We all get the spring cleaning bug and we go out into our sheds and we stir up all the dust with the mouse poop. It's not only the poop, but it's the urine and the saliva in the infected deer mice. So there are some recommendations about that. It's pretty scary. I've always kind of labeled hantavirus as a death sentence, but I'm glad I read this because they say about 25% of Montana's cases have resulted in death, which is okay. However, it's scary. It's best to follow the recommendations. And if anyone's interested, I'm happy to send this information out. They also had another press release about the rising incidence in syphilis, which is just skyrocketing in Montana right now.
Really?
It's actually pretty scary. It's really easily treated though with penicillin, so it's just a matter of encouraging people to go get tested and treated, because untreated it can be deadly to unborn babies and very detrimental to your health across the board. And I included one more press release from the Department of Health and Human Services because we were talking about e-cigarette usage during our Board of Health meeting, so I've included that as well. But in Mineral County, our teens score higher on the e-cigarette usage than across the state of Montana. So we have an issue here, and we're kind of diving into that. Another topic that came up in our last Board of Health meeting was whether or not we have an opioid issue here. And so what I've done is I've sent out a few emails to law enforcement, health providers, mental health providers, and I'm just trying to get a feel for what's going on. And so I'll present some of that stuff at our next Board of Health meeting. But really, we're just trying to figure out how big of an issue we have and how we're going to target it if it's an issue. So that's been kind of on the communicable disease / drug abuse front. We have vaccines in stock now. We're going to have a clinic at the end of April, and we're going to all 3 schools on April 25th, and we're going to give a whole lot of teens a bunch of immunizations, so that's exciting. In the safety coordinator role, Ashley has done a lot of work. She had their monthly staff safety meeting. She really is hoping everybody will send a representative or attend that, just because there are quite a few changes coming down, and she wants to be sure everybody's on board. She's been working on a bloodborne pathogen procedure and getting a policy adopted for the county. If you participated in the wellness program that the county offered and you had enough points, there was a $25 incentive, so be sure to cash in on that. She's been doing safety evaluations of all the departments, and she's scheduled the defensive driving course on April 24th at 10 in here. Payne West is actually facilitating it, and if you're unable to attend it, she can send an electronic version. And I think only people who are driving county vehicles are required to do that. But she says there's been some grumblings, which is natural with any change, and so we welcome all those comments and we will handle them appropriately. But I think the bottom line is we have to do this stuff,
Yeah.
and it's gonna benefit us in the long run, so it's good.
Kelly said that when he was in the road department that they had to do a defensive driving class.
Yeah, yeah. And I think there's some other trainings that are going to come down. I think most of them will be electronic, so you can do it at your own pace. So we apologize ahead of time, but we appreciate your cooperation because we just have to do it. End of story. Barb, with her tobacco program, this month they did Kick Butts Day, which is where they focused on the kids. And Alberton students, the 6th grade class, came up with a group they called the Tobacco Free Mountain Cats. They did a bunch of research around tobacco use and went and taught all the kids about the dangers of tobacco use. And then they challenged Superior and St. Regis 6th graders to join in. And their theme this year was Be the First Generation to Not Use Tobacco. And in Superior, they did a mentoring program with the little kids. And they were actually featured in the Department of Health and Human Services weekly newsletter, which I included in the packet as well. So that's pretty cool. Lots of good stuff happening with those guys. In our home visiting program, we're still accepting referrals. We're really going to shift our focus to recruitment. We're going to expand our program probably, adding another home visitor to just visit families involved with Child Protective Services, which will be pretty awesome. I know it'll help out our crew in town. St. Regis School got a huge literacy grant, and in that they built that they were going to partner with our Parents as Teachers program to focus on our 0 to 5 population. So we are in the initial stages of meeting with them, but I think we're going to do something along the lines of like 1,000 books before kindergarten and just roll out some really interesting and fun literacy activities with them. In my fetal infant child maternal mortality review world, we are required to select an evidence-based injury prevention program for the upcoming year. So I'm working on a survey that I'm going to send out to law enforcement, again, our healthcare providers, schools, to find out what they're seeing our kids are struggling with. They want us to choose our topic, whether it's infant safe sleep or teen suicide prevention or safe driving, based upon our statistics. And luckily in Mineral County, we don't have a lot of pediatric deaths. So I said, what do we do in this case? And they said, well, find out what people think, what they're seeing is like your near miss problems. You know, so is the ER seeing a lot of car wrecks from teen drivers, things like that. So rather than me just choosing it, I'm going to get information and feedback from the community on that. Our healthy...
Would that e-cig usage statistic fit in with that?
Maybe we have to choose something that's evidence-based, and that wasn't an example they gave us yet. So probably in the future, because they're doing so much research on it right now. Yeah, it's good. Good thinking. I didn't think of that one. Our Healthy Communities Coalition is rocking and rolling. We invite anyone to attend, or if you just want to learn a little bit more about it, we can add you to the mailing and you can get the meeting minutes and find out what we're doing. But right now we're talking about possibly doing a magazine in our community called Youth Connection that will be delivered to every household that has a school-aged child. We have funding this year to probably cover the cost of that, but it might be a moneymaker in the future if we need to support our programs that way. Lots of stuff happening with the Alberton Preschool. They're just trying to figure out how best to utilize their resources. And in the schools, we've seen a decrease in our illness absences, which is actually good. Spring is having a hard time getting here, but it's coming. In Superior, Barb hosted a really, really great educational day for all the high school students. They had a full day on suicide prevention, consent, reproductive health, healthy relationships, bullying, substance abuse. And I think it was really well received. She's doing some surveys on the kids to find out what they thought of it, what they learned, and getting good feedback. So hopefully we can replicate that in the future. On the 25th, we're going to be screening every kid in Mineral County, 5th through 8th grade, for scoliosis, as well as giving all the shots like I mentioned. And our fun run is scheduled for May 9th here in Superior. So if you're around May 9th, it'd be awesome if you came down toward the school and just cheered on all the little kids. It's every little kid, kindergarten or preschool, through 6th grade. And they run a 1 mile or a 3 mile course. It's a lot of fun. And then other general stuff. Actually, this piggybacks on what you said about the Mineral Community Hospital's practice drills. I think they did an active shooter one the other
Yeah,
day.
they did.
And since we're in the basement of the old clinic, we are part of that. But when we called, and I'm speaking secondhand because I wasn't in, Barb was, but when she called and said, there's an active shooter, this is a drill, they said, where are you located? What's your address? And that was pretty alarming for me because we need to know where we are in case we need some help. So it's actually really great we're doing these drills so that way we can get kinks worked out. We're probably going to be hosting a nursing student through the summer, which I'm looking forward to. The sooner the better.
Really?
Help.
Wow.
Yay. And we're probably going to be hiring for our home visiting program. And our most exciting news is that we implemented some standing desk stations, and Ashley has done some research into the benefits of that, and we're liking it so far. So if anybody is interested in more information about that, let me know. Yeah.
I was gonna back you up to your hantavirus. I remember 20 years ago when that came out, and it was, everybody, it was a big deal. It was kind of scary, like you said, most people died. Have they made any progress in identifying, what I know they know the cause, but ways to cure it or whatever? Or is it still kind of a mystery?
Well, they say since it was recognized in 1993, there's been 43 cases. Montana has one of the highest rates of infection in the whole United States. So I think the key is to prevent it if you can. But if you knew that you were cleaning up your shed and you knew there was mouse poop and you probably weren't as great as as careful as you should have been, they list the early symptoms as fatigue, fever, muscle aches with progression to cough and extreme shortness of breath. And it says that it can cause severe illness. And supportive medical care is essential to survival, and if diagnosed early, specific antiviral medications may help with recovery. So I would say prevent it, but if you know that you've been exposed or could have been exposed and you start having those symptoms, then you should see your doctor. Because I know they can do a blood test and figure it out, and so the earlier you catch it, the better. It's
But it sounds like a lot of them mimic the flu, and you really wouldn't know it's worse than that when you have the breathing problem.
That's what I was just gonna say. It's tricky when you're still in kind of this flu season, cold season, everybody's still stuck inside, and then you go outside and you get sick. But I would just pair those two together. If you think you might have been exposed and you're getting sick, it's worth a visit to your doctor.
Does the little dust masks help in preventing, or do they go right through the little?
I don't know the answer to that. I'd have to find out.
The dust masks, yeah, they'll help. Usually, most of what they recommend is just taking in a simple bleach solution and spraying down those
Get it
areas
wet.
before you clean that up, and trying to avoid the aerosolization of the virus. So
This is actually a really good press release, and so maybe we should just shoot it out to everybody if you want, because it talks about airing out your buildings and the ways to keep the mice away. You're not inviting them to your home.
I mean, for a while, like Montana Power guys would, they'd open up the little electrical boxes, and it was all warm and buzzing in there, and there would be a mouse nest, and they were the ones that were getting high exposure, going out and doing little jobs with the warm boxes. Kind of hard to spray that, you might get shot.
but in that case, just a NIOSH approved, probably an N95 mask, I think is what they typically recommend, which is don't just grab your bandana or your handkerchief and wrap it around your head. I mean, that'd do in a pinch, but if it's on the outside of it and then you put it in your pocket and take it out later on, blow your nose, you're just cross-contaminating yourself.
And then Jen,
Disposable masks are
where will your pool of nurses, for the one that might come out and help in the summer? Are they Bozeman based or anywhere?
I think that it's out of Havre, but she's actually a Superior kid.
Oh, good.
She's coming
Oh,
back
good.
to help out. Do her clinical for public
I
health.
thought it was an arrangement with a certain school.
No,
This is
well,
maybe a one-time deal kind of thing.
Yeah, she needs to get her hours for community health,
Good.
which is great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Jen. Now we got Mo here. I was going to ask you a question. I was reading about the school thing, Mary, and this one's well, first of all, I saw the article puts out on two of them, Superior and St. Regis, they just said their permissive levy is gonna go up by how much for a $200,000 house. Alberton ended up putting the bottom line that they want $30,000 of revenue off the levy, but the Superior one said that they're actually, even though they're imposing this levy, it's, the rate's gonna go down. Do you understand why that might be? Did you read the article?
I have not read the article, but the only way to go down is there's less, if there are less mills. So maybe they don't need as many this next year, but I thought that was the whole idea of the permissive levy, to be able to equal it out, so they don't have to raise. So, no, I haven't read it, and I don't know that I know the answer to that. But I'll
Yeah.
certainly ask Kellyanne about
So
it.
do you know what the amount is overall for Superior?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay.
But it should be going up, because we'll have that,
That's why I didn't know if
bond.
maybe they were paying off the elementary school up this year, so now their permissive levy with one bond issue going away will.
We know that bond issue for the elementary are only a couple of years ago.
Oh, okay, that's what I thought. Yeah. Huh.
Could be a misprint too.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it seems funny because it says that the whole reason that the Senate passed this bill to just let schools permissively do it is because schools had a heck of a time whenever they go to the voters, they were never getting their mill levies approved, so they decided just to let the schools do it permissively.
Heck with the voters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, anyway, what else is new in your office?
Well, with Department of Revenue closing, they're switching that over, the downloads from Orion to the county side. They sent that to me on the 2nd. I haven't had a chance to do that yet. I'm working on month-end work right now, but that'll be a new adventure, and Black Mountain is assisting us to make sure we get that down right, because that was my biggest concern. Is now I'm going to be doing all that. It used to be Lois would do her end, and then I would double check all the figures on my end, and now it's me doing it. So I don't know about the checks and balances. They're a little concerning to me, but I have not done it yet, and I'm hoping that they've implemented something for me to be able to make sure I'm getting the right numbers and the right districts and everything in there. So, but I'm sure it'll do well. And Lois is still there and has already said that she'd help me if I have concerns, and same with Black Mountain that they'd help. But I haven't started it, but I should have no problem. Week after, I'm in Whitefish for a week for superintendent of schools training. Just been busy. I was out last week and kind of put a pinch on Dawn because Claudia was already out at a doctor's appointment that day, so she's been a few hours by herself in the office, which is not great, but couldn't have changed the appointment. So I'm going to try to do some training with Mary to get her in on motor vehicles so that she can come over, hopefully, if we get in that situation again. Everything else is moving along, busy. We're having some trouble with the state getting those new stickers. We changed our stickering system back to 2 decals, and they can't seem to keep enough in stock, or didn't estimate how many motor vehicles there are in the state because they're not getting them out to us. I'm concerned when I go back from lunch that we're going to be out of 19 stickers for a day or so, which is never good because people come in and expect to get their stickers and we can run them off, but then we got more mailing because then we have to mail them to them. And that's not good. And they didn't let us know. I mean, Claudia tried 4 times to order them, and every time she'd go back in to check, her order was denied. And then when she followed up with them, they said, oh, well, we're having trouble with our whatever, and didn't let us know. I mean, it would have been better to let us know. We would have been following up a little bit quicker. That's all I have.
Judge Magone.
We're working on replacing Brandy. She's been gone a month now. We have 3 applicants, Casey, is that?
4.
There's 4?
Yep.
Okay. And that closes tomorrow. So hopefully we'll be able to start interviewing first part of next week and try to get somebody in there real quick. We've just got a lot of things coming up with a lot of bench trials. Basically, what we're trying to do is clean up a lot of cases that have been hanging around for a long time. People kind of forget to show up, and we keep resetting. So finally, we're just going right to bench trial, and if they don't show up, they're in absentia, and we just try them and close them out. Ellen's just, she's overloaded between everything that's going on. I don't know how she does it. She stays here a lot of times till 10 o'clock at night. But, so we're trying to clean up some of that and get it taken care of. I've got school at the end of the month in Billings. There's school twice a year. So it'll be the spring school and then fall school. Then they have to recertify for, if I win, I'll have to recertify. Having the jail reopened is a huge relief.
Good.
Well, it was really a pain. And we're trying to fill it up, but law enforcement tries to fill it up, and like those rotten judges keep kicking them loose.
That'd be a law.
But it sure helps. I mean, Judge Dryden down in Plains, Sanders County, he was great, and their staff were great. Can't say enough about their help. And we're just fortunate to have them. Everything's going along good. Staying busy. That's about all I have.
So, yeah, so the judge is nonpartisan, so you and whoever's running
Jess.
you will be on the
Jess,
on the June ballot, and then again on the November.
yeah, the top two go. So, I guess we'll kind of see how that shakes out.
Interesting.
Oh,
Unlike the clerk and recorder, because that'll be over in June. Because they're all running on the
Because they're all
same day.
Republican.
And everybody else is Republican,
Mhm.
so everything else, all the rest will be over.
Mhm.
I guess Ellen's being an independent,
Mhm.
I guess she has to get a certain amount of
Signature.
signatures to get on the ballot.
Which, if she didn't, that would be horrible. We wouldn't have a county attorney. Nobody
I
else
would
would.
think there'd be able to do a write-in, wouldn't she? And since she's running out of
Well, I thought,
posts.
I thought she was getting the signatures.
Well, she's working on it, from what I understand. Working on
Yeah.
it, yeah.
How
Yeah,
many
very
does
fortunate
she
to
need?
have her.
She doesn't need very
I would hate to lose her.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
One question I did have, what happened with Pagoda,
Who?
What?
the shack out front,
Oh, the kiosk.
the kiosk?
Oh, Pagoda? Oh.
Yeah, whatever you want to call
I thought that was a Chinese restaurant in Vegas.
The shack.
Oh, yeah, the kiosk. Okay, so the,
Town of Superior.
yeah, the town of Superior is opening up a recycling thing, and they kind of needed a little photo map booth for someone to stand inside when people come in to do the recycling. And so they talked to the Historical Society, because that was the one that was kind of putting the postings in. And then we had another offer that some people wanted to do something different with our courthouse area to make it more attractive for picnic tables or sitting down, or so we decided to go ahead and let the city of Superior have the pagoda. And so they took it off the hand.
Okay,
It wasn't being used as much as in the way people kind of anticipated, and there's a lot of people actually kind of thought it was kind of a weird situation on the lawn.
I don't mean to be unobservant, but how long's it been gone?
I think they moved it last Wednesday.
And we did have it posted, so if anybody wanted to come in and plea for it to stay, we never did hear from anybody. In fact, I thought maybe that Kay Strombo would be against it, because she was the one that kind of had the key and she was fine with it too, so.
I think it was a week ago Wednesday they moved it.
Well, I guess your window doesn't exactly face that way.
You know.
You didn't. catch on as soon as, Tim probably knows the exact hour and day that it was removed, because he's right out his front window.
It's out here.
The kiosk.
Yeah, we videoed it, and we're gonna send it into OSHA for violation.
Oh, all right.
This is how you don't take down the load. Yeah, it was interesting. They would have given us more warning. We should have been able to take bets of whether it would have got over there or not, because they just put it on the front end of the loader and drove off.
Took off. Strap it
Right off the
down or
bridge.
nothing, huh?
Huh?
They didn't put straps on it or anything?
Well,
did they?
yeah, they put a little
Oh.
strap here and there and stuff like that. But I mean, I don't care how you cut it, but you just, they reached out with that.
A couple of bungee straps.
Yeah.
Oh, they'll hold. So, well, what do we have, Lori? Trying to think if we have anything to share.
I've got the policy handbook already to, Casey and I are going to get it all put together and distributed and get your input. And what I did is I took Mako's, their template, and then we got actually Dawson County's policy handbook. And what I did is I took Mako's and compared it to Dawson County's, and then made a little star of what Dawson County had that Mako didn't have, and what, new stuff that's come out since Dawson County did theirs, which actually was 2016. And then I took our personnel policy handbook, and of course, since it was 2002, there's a whole lot of stuff that's come since then. But I took ours and then went through and put in what ours had that. So anyway, hopefully we can get it all put together, and maybe by the end of April or whatever, or by the next department head meeting, we can have it to you and have your guys' input and get our personnel policy handbook done.
Any major changes that jump to mind as far as changing between the versions?
Not really, just a
Minor
lot of
tweaks here and
wording,
there.
but then there's a lot of, I don't know, there's a lot of stuff in our old one that we don't have, that now we have to have. So, I'd have to
We
go
have to
through
find
it
kind of a
exactly.
general chapter category to insert the no dog policy.
Yeah,
Oh.
we have to figure that, where we need to put that, but, it's, but we wanna have your input of, do we really need this, or don't we really need this? And the Dawson County had some stuff in there that doesn't even pertain to us, so we can take that out, but,
That's
anyway.
the part about where to park your horses when you show up.
Yeah.
Hitching post in the back or the hitching post in the front.
I was just trying to,
That's a huge project. Thank you for doing that. That makes
Yeah,
somebody like me
it's
so
very
happy.
meticulous and time consuming. I don't know how she does it.
oh, well.
I
that
go
was-
bananas after the 4th page.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, there's, well, like, for one thing, workplace breastfeeding. I mean, back in 2002, you didn't have to worry about that. Now it's mandatory that we do it.
Didn't have
And,
the fact that it's new, but-
drug and alcohol testing, a lot of that stuff is, Anyway, so hopefully we can,
Did
Get that
Dawson
done.
County have the bathroom, gender bathroom?
oh, no.
That'll be another 10 years
Yeah,
from now. I have
that'll
to
be
worry about that
another-
one probably.
Yeah.
What if we just put a
We'll just
unisex?
we'll just take the signs off the bathrooms, and it'll be a bathroom.
Yeah, a bathroom, and don't worry about it.
That's what I
Unisex.
always said. Just find a bathroom.
You get your at your own risk.
Put door locks on it.
But there, it's a lot easier to find stuff on this one, so, that rather than ours where you have to search through it and try to find something, and, anyway, so,
Well, I
try to
can
get
put-
that to ya.
I went into a public hearing meeting at Alberton at the community center. It was the Fish and Games public meeting for the, they want to buy some more land up Fish Creek, 276 acres up Fish Creek, which would be wildlife management area land that would go with the rest of their wildlife management area land, which, that's basically a mini wilderness. No motorized vehicles, no firewood cutting, no commercial hunting guides, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, the only thing that was kind of interesting is that it's a Mineral County thing, and it's in Alberton, and myself and 3 other people were from Mineral County, and the other 20 people were all from 9 Mile, Frenchtown, Trout Unlimited, Missoula, and they were all, so they were taking comments, and everybody was for it. Yeah, keep on doing what you're doing. This is great. Yeah, we need that. And I'm not against any of those, fishing spots and animals, but I just decided, well, I'll get up and give my spiel, even though the Fish and Game knows it. And after I was done, everybody was like, could have heard a pin drop, because maybe I was too much of a doomsdayer. I just basically showed them that, look at the map, it's all Forest Service. There's no white land, no private land. And while it's good you guys want to, do your fishing areas, we need an economy out here, and the more land the Fish and Game buys, the less land we're able to have a house or a restaurant or a motel or a four-wheeler shop or whatever. And granted, the Fish and Game is paying taxes, but it's pennies on the dollar. They're going to pay a whopping $550 a year, where if there was a house on it or 2 houses. But anyway, everybody was dumbfounded because they're all from Fat, Dumb, and Happy Missoula County, and there's all kinds of white private ground there. Anyway, Randy Arnold of the Fish and Game told me later. Good thing, I think it was good you said that, Roman, because a lot of those people had no idea that all their little pet projects have such an impact to running a county. I even said to them, you guys are going to come out here and you're going to be parked at the fishing access or up the creek or whatever, and then your car's going to get broken into. You're going to want a cop to come to when your stereo's stolen or when you flip your raft. Or that's how we sustain a government. We don't have any land to tax to sustain a government. So then they were all it was real quiet. But Randy Arnold thought it was good that they hear that side of the story instead of all the backslapping about more conservation land. I said, I think it's a good idea. Just how about somewhere else other than Mineral County? We've got the Great Burn, we've got inventory road list, we've got the Fish and Game buy-up land, making it wilderness, we've got something. But I just thought it was interesting that out of all the people there's only 4 of us from Mineral County. And,
On your agenda tomorrow, is there WSA on that?
there is,
Stan Spencer?
yeah, there's a gentleman named Stan Spencer who's he's the head of the backcountry snowmobile groups, but he's been involved for a long time with forest plans, the Lolo forest plans, Clearwater to Idaho, and out of all those wilderness study areas, the Great Burn wasn't added on that list with Burns or Danes and Gianforte saying. So he wanted to come out. There's some document that he got that some counties have signed, like Ravalli County, I think, is one. And he just wanted us to hear what this executive order would do. If it would basically make, even if something is not a wilderness anymore, it would revert back and allow historical use to take place without it having to go through a whole other forest plan thing, because historically people have snowmobiled up there. But yeah, since it's public and on the agenda, I think some wilderness people might be here too. So if you want to come down, Tim, we could help.
But the Danes bill, their current discussions about one of the study areas, the Great Burn was never included in any of that discussion.
Right, and that's why he's coming in is he wants, what is it?
Yeah, I watched the email can kind of explain it.
Executive order.
And find the one I sent you, and otherwise I have to go back pretty far.
I'll see if I can find that one that. Okay, it said the one that he sent Roman. It says the reason he's coming in is the purpose is to effect an administrative change on recreational uses on RWAs and WSAs through an executive order from the president. The changes would allow uses that existed at the time of designation. In other words, it would put Region 1 recommended wilderness area management consistent with other Forest Service regions. We are looking for support from county commissioners that have RWAs or WSAs in or adjoining their respective counties. The support from a coalition of backcountry recreational users will go to the Secretary of Agriculture and Interior for their endorsement and recommendation to the President to sign. We have good, constituent to both departments. We have also discussed this with Senator Daines. We do have support from various user groups and state associations in Utah, Idaho, and Montana. While we support Daines and Gianforte's WSA repeal bills, the problem there is no end game uses specified after repeal in either bill, and it is left up to forest planning, and we all know how that has been working. The executive order will remedy that shortfall. Once you've read the executive order, I will be happy to discuss it with you and or the other commissioners. We are trying to have our support in place to send to the Secretary of Agriculture and Interior by the end of the first week in April.
That's tomorrow.
So there's this kind of a big picture thing. It's like, Danes is like, do something. Either finish it up or get rid of it or.
But the Great
whatever.
Burn wasn't included in it. And that's
So,
what
but
they're,
that's what they're pushing for, is to include that.
to establish, to let, what the recreational use was when they designated that as proposed.
Yeah. So kind
Because
of, even if
right
it's
now-
gonna stay status quo,
If you rode a snowmobile up Trout Creek over into Idaho and followed the road, if you're not on the road though, are they gonna ticket you?
they have,
Mhm.
and they can also take your
On what
machine.
authority?
Under the administrative rules, the ARMs that they allow the Forest Service to write. The Forest Service gets to write their own laws depending on the management areas they've selected. Just like a lock gate, that's an administrative rule. They say this road is closed, you can't be behind this gate cutting firewood. And then if you are, then they write you a ticket based on the ARMs.
So we need 50 people to ride their snowmobiles up there, get tickets, and take them to court.
And of course then you don't get to go to regular court, you have to go to a federal court, which could be in Helena or Cheyenne, Wyoming, or wherever the judge is for that week. So then people go, oh, do I even bother going over there?
Well, make it class action.
I thought, that's my big hang-up, Tim, about, in our country, we have lawmakers that we elect and send either to Helena or to DC, and they represent us and vote on laws which have the enforcement of the people voted by our representatives. When it comes to these ARMs, a lot of people with their own biases in their position of authority, sitting behind the desk at the Lolo, they get to decide how they like to see something happen. And then they can make it a law, and then they can make you an outlaw if you disagree with what they decide. And there's no representation, it's not a democratic process. So when I used to find out that I was with my friends in a closed area, then I just rationalized it, well, it wasn't a democratic process, so I guess, because I'm supposed to be an upholder of the law, but that's not a law, that's a mandate, administrative rule mandate made up by somebody who has that authority given to them. So,
No matter what, people don't like the government.
that's right, yeah, it just fuels that whole animosity, because
Yep.
you can sit there and talk till you're blue in the face that it's not fair and it's not right, and who decided it? Well, the person who decided it is someone who is a bureaucrat. And they don't even know. I mean, some of them don't even live out here, and they're deciding what happens. And I know a guy that went firewood cutting, and the gate was open, and he was cutting firewood, and the guy came up and gave him a ticket for cutting wood behind a locked gate. The gate was open. The guy goes, the gate was open because I left it open and I wasn't done yet, but you're supposed to know when you're behind a locked gate. So he went to Helena to fight it and fell upon deaf ears. Basically the judge agreed with, well, supposed to look up on the website or look up on a map or whatever. He goes, I just drove up the road and saw an open gate and cut a tree, you know? How did I know it was a locked gate? The gate was wide open. So that's the kind of stuff that makes people upset with the government. Anyway, yeah, come down tomorrow, Tim, if you're available.
Okay.
Because sometimes you bring great intellect to our wild conversation.
I'll be here, but there won't be much intellect.
Oh, come on.
Speaking of tax bills, the newspaper articles about the letter that the commissioners sent to Secretary Perdue generated some interest in other counties. We were at a regional extension meeting last week, and a lot of the agents were saying, yeah, we heard about that letter you guys, the tax bill you guys sent up to Washington, and let us know how that works out for you. And if we can get a copy of that letter sometime afterwards. So
We also had a backlash of something we did not expect. While there was some people supporting us, because we were just saying SRS hadn't been reauthorized in 2 years. PILT was shakily, they hadn't even authorized that. We thought, you know what, if we're not going to get any of those programs, and rightfully so, we got all that green land, let's just send them a tax bill to start, to get them thinking and get them going, hey, we better reauthorize these programs for these counties. And some counties were mad, thinking that we wanted to have a tax bill instead of those SRS programs and PILT, and that never was our intent. I mean, we get more money from the SRS and PILT than we do a tax bill. It was like,
yeah.
I told the guy that called me, I said, well, I wasn't saying in lieu of, I was saying on top of it. On top of SRS and PILT, we could tax them too. I mean, it was just mainly to get those guys conversing amongst each other and decide, you know,
Yeah.
fish or cut bait, guy. We can't just run here with a county without these programs.
And it's the bigger counties that are whining because they're the ones that gets all the PILT money. And so Todd Devlin, if you want to go, we sent it to Missoula and apparently it hasn't come on. If you type in Todd Devlin Billings Gazette, he wrote a rebuttal article on.
I'll bet he did.
Yeah.
Because he's like us, we get 37 cents an acre, but Missoula County and Ravalli County, they get like $2.60 an acre. So it's an unfair formula for small counties, and so.
Based on population.
He said
There
he's
is
been
nothing
working on it since 1994 to get the formula changed. That's how long he's been working on it.
You think that federal land in a county is federal land in a county. It should not matter. It shouldn't be worth more or less depending on, you know,
Population.
But whatever the formula is, it's not consistent.
No.
Because you're gonna
Well,
have,
I've
you
never
can have
heard
a
that
small
from-
county
yeah.
with a bunch of
From
land,
CRC.
and they get no money. You can have a small population county with a bunch of land, and they get a big payment. And especially in eastern Montana, because BLM fits in there and do that. But if you compare comparable counties with population, the amount of land and do that, there'll be 100% difference in the amount of reimbursement that you get. It'll go from 37 to $2, you know, they just jump back and forth. So however the formula is applied, it is not consistent.
Yeah. Broadwater County gets $2.29 an acre. Cascade County gets $2.22. Yellowstone County gets $2.60. Even Macomb County, they get $1.04. Mineral County gets 37 cents.
They get $1.34 for that land out in Macomb County.
Well,
Has anybody ever
$1.04.
$1.04? Well, still. I mean,
And I don't know if because
Mineral
they
Circle.
have more BLM land and there's a different formula
all
for
BLM.
BLM than there is Forest Service, so it's all crazy. Anyway,
well, good. Good to be.
Anyway.
Good to
I'm
stir
glad
the
that they were
fire.
talking about it, Dave.
Yeah.
That's all we want to do is get people talking about it.
But it was a really good letter, opinion letter from Todd Devlin. I mean, it was Mineral County, it was like, you know.
He was backing us.
Yeah, he was really backing us. And of course, he sits on the NACO Public Lands Board, so.
We'll see.
Yeah. We'll see.
We heard anything from Terhune?
I have not, no. I don't know if Casey. Maybe we ought to just call him, Tim. Want me to go up with you after this meeting and we'll give him a call? together?
Yeah, I thought maybe he had contacted somebody or and reached out or something.
Well, thanks everybody for showing up.
Thanks.
And Jen, thanks for the long, good, informative report.
You know, I don't know what you guys want to hear.
No, it's
There's a lot
interesting.
going on. I don't
Yeah.
want to lose you, but.
Wow.